You think you're free because nobody tells you when to wake up. But walk through your actual day, the real one, and count the strings. The app that pays you, the platform that hosts your audience, the landlord who signs your lease, the bank that holds the number you call your runway. By the end of this, you'll see exactly how many hands are wrapped around your throat and which ones you can pry loose first. Here's the uncomfortable starting point. Freedom is a feeling for most people when it should be a structure. You can feel completely sovereign while standing on a trapdoor someone else controls. And the feeling lasts right up until the lever gets pulled. That's the gap we're closing. Picture the version of you that quit the job. You build something online, the income comes in, the lifestyle looks clean, and from the outside, you look like the poster child for doing it your own way. Then, one Tuesday, your account gets flagged. No human, no warning, no appeal that goes anywhere. Your store, your reach, your monthly number, gone in the time it takes to refresh a page. You were renting a spot on someone else's land, and the rent just became eviction. So what actually happened there? You mistook access for ownership. Most people building right now are making the same swap without noticing. Think about where your leverage really sits. Your followers live on a platform you don't control. Your payment flows through a processor that can freeze you on a whim. Your best client is 40% of your income, which means your best client is also your boss. They just don't call it that. Your skills, the one thing that should be portable, are wired into a single tool that one company could deprecate next quarter. Each of these felt like an asset when you set it up. Every one of them is also a leash. And the cruel part is that all of this looks like independence. While it's working, a leash only reveals itself when you reach the end of it. Let me put a real face on this. A guy I'll call Marcus spent 3 years building a channel teaching people to edit video. 200,000 subscribers. Quit his job, full-time creator, living the dream he posted about. Then the platform changed how it paid out. Quietly, over a single update. His income dropped by more than half in a month. Same work, same uploads, same audience. The ground moved while he stood still. Now ask yourself the question. Marcus skipped until it was too late. If one decision in a building you've never visited can cut your life in half, whose life is it? Marcus did one thing right though, and it's the only reason he's still standing. 6 months before the payout change, almost by accident, he'd started a small email newsletter. A few thousand people. He thought of it as a side project, a place to dump extra thoughts the algorithm wouldn't reward. When the platform money collapsed, that list was the rope he climbed out on. He sold a course directly to those people. No middleman, no algorithm, no permission needed. The thing he treated as a hobby turned out to be the only part of his business he actually owned. That's the pattern worth tattooing somewhere. The asset that saves you is almost never the one you're proud of. It's the quiet, low-status thing you built on the side while the spotlight was somewhere else. Here's where it turns though, because this is more than a doomed sermon. The strings are real, but they're not equal, and they're not all permanent. The whole game is learning to tell the difference between a string you can cut, a string you can thicken into many, and a string you'll carry for life, whether you like it or not. Start with the cuttable ones. These are the dependencies you accepted out of convenience and kept out of habit. 1. Income source. 1 platform. 1 skill that only works inside one ecosystem. You chose these because they were the closest option, and then you got busy and never revisited the decision. The fix is boring, and boring is why most people skip it. You add a second income stream that doesn't touch the first. You take your audience and pull a slice of it somewhere you own outright. An email list, a direct line, anything where the relationship can't be revoked by a stranger. You learn the principle underneath your tool instead of just the buttons. So when the tool dies, the skill walks out alive. Redundancy feels like wasted time when everything's working. It feels like genius the day something breaks. You're buying the right to say no, because that's what this is really about. Every dependency is a place where someone else can make you say yes. The client you can't afford to lose is the client you'll tolerate anything from. The platform that owns your reach owns your opinions too, quietly, in all the things you don't post, because you're scared of the algorithm. Freedom you can't afford to use was always a costume. Now, someone smart is pushing back right now, and they've got a point. They're thinking, total independence is a fantasy. You'll always depend on something. The grid, the supply chain, the bank, the people who grow your food. Going full hermit in a cabin is just a smaller cage with worse food. And that's correct. The goal was never to need nothing. A person who needs nothing is either dead or lying. The goal is to spread your dependence so wide that no single failure can end you. There's a difference between standing on one pillar and standing on 40. Kick one pillar out of 40 and you wobble. Kick out the one and you're on the floor. Resilience is having so many strings that no single hand can yank them all. This is the reframe that changes how you build. Stop asking what makes me the most money fastest. Start asking what happens to me if this disappears tomorrow. Run that question over your whole life and watch where you flinch. The flinch is the map. Wherever it hurts most to imagine the loss, that's where you're most owned. Run it over your income. If your main source vanished Friday, how long until you're in real trouble? If the answer is weeks, you have a high-paying emergency waiting for a date. Run it over your skills. If your industry's favorite tool got replaced, are you still valuable? Or were you just good at pressing the right keys in the right order? The people who survive every shift learned the thing under the thing. Run it over your money. Cash in one bank, in one currency, in one country, under one set of rules you don't write. Plenty of people who think they're diversified just own the same risk wearing different outfits. 5 tech stocks isn't 5 bets. It's one bet you made 5 times. Run it over the people too. Because relationships are dependencies you rarely audit. The mentor who opens every door also decides which doors stay shut. The partner whose network you ride is a network you don't own. None of that means cut people off and grind alone. It means notice the rooms where your whole future runs through one person's goodwill and quietly build a second door. And run it over the heaviest one, the one nobody wants to name. Your time. You can rebuild income, you can learn a new platform, a new skill, a new market. You will spend a single hour exactly once. The most expensive dependency in your life is the one where you've handed years to something that can drop you, and you keep showing up anyway because leaving feels scarier than staying. That's the string you carry for life, by the way. Time. You only control what you tie the other end to. Tie it to 40 pillars, or tie it to 1. The clock runs out the same. The only question is whether you spent it owned or spent it building the thing that owns nothing back. So here's what owning your life actually looks like, stripped of the slogans. It's unglamorous, it's slow, it's the second income that earns pocket change for a year. It's the email list of 400 people who actually open your stuff while everyone laughs at your follower count. It's the savings that buy you the power to walk away from a client mid-sentence. It's the skill you can carry across 3 industries because you understand why it works, not just where the buttons are. It's the quiet refusal to let any single thing become so big that losing it ends you. That stuff stays invisible. It just quietly removes hands from your throat, one finger at a time, until one day you notice you can breathe in a room where everyone else is holding theirs. The people who look most free 3 years from now will be the ones who got obsessed with the unsexy question while everyone else chased reach. What happens to me if this disappears? They asked it early, they asked it often, and they'd built the answer before they needed it. You probably can't cut every string this month. Some of them feed you, and you've got rent due. So start with one. Pick the dependency that scares you most to lose, the one that drops your stomach when you imagine it gone, and spend the next 90 days building its replacement on the side. Not to quit it, to stop being afraid of it, because the day you can lose your biggest thing and still stand, something shifts that no platform can touch. You stop negotiating from your knees, you start choosing instead of clinging. The work gets better, the asks get bolder, and the fear that was quietly editing every decision finally goes quiet. You were always going to depend on something. Aim instead to be a person no single hand can drop. Count your strings tonight, all of them, the ones that feed you and the ones that just hold you. Then go find the lever on the worst one and put your hand on it before someone else does.